This is Berlin, Germany, and the bear is the symbol of Berlin. And this is the Autobahn going in and out of the city. The sign says you are now entering the U.S. sector, Berlin. And this was a cross that it was erected as the soldiers marched into Berlin during the war. They erected this cross made out of a tree in memory of the soldiers who had died. And this is the monument at Tempelhof Airport, right in front of the terminal. And this is the Kurfürstendamm, which is the elite shopping district in Berlin, where all the big hotels are. And it's the bombed out church, and they left that part, built a new church around it, left that part as a memorial. This is a Mormon church that was very pretty, very ornate in Berlin. And this is Charlottenburg Castle in Berlin. And these are some swans that swam on the lake, and we went down, take them bread, and you feed them and watch them swim. And this is a little garden cafe. Little cafe house on a side street with the little umbrellas. You could eat outside or inside. That's their little cafes in Berlin. And there's a street scene with their round billboard in the corner where they post all their signs, and just like we would have square ones here, they have round ones there. This is the Kurfürstendamm, main street, main shopping district in Berlin. And this is the side street where we lived near, where you could go to shop in the German stores and local shopping area. And this is a little toy store that we spend a lot of time in. Your father said, for the children.
Who was that?
This is Lake Wannsee, and it was a recreation lake that separated east and west, and you could go boating on it to a point. They had a marker where you weren't supposed to go any further. And this is the same lake from the top of a hill. And this is on the American side, where you could rent little boats, or they had boats that people had. And these are little patches of garden that were outside the city. People who lived in an apartment, didn't have any place to grow flowers or vegetables, could rent one of these little patches of land and have a little garden during the summer. And this is another little area of the garden. And there's a little house they would have there for their garden tools, or they could even sleep overnight if they wanted to, depending on the size of the little house that they had there. And this is at the Wannsee. This was the American recreation for the American GIs. They had the pool there, and they had a clubhouse. There's the clubhouse. You buy snacks and things like that. There's another view of the pool. And this is the training area where they trained with tanks and armored divisions. There's the training area sign, U.S. Army Berlin Command. This is John F. Kennedy School, where Bill started to school in the American housing complex. We had a commissary there, and the Red Roof Building PX, and barber shop, beauty shop, banking, and just like a little city in a city. And this is the Apshers in front of the PX, with their daughter Jean and their little granddaughter, Bill in the red jacket and Peter in the blue jacket. And that was some roses that I had taken a picture of. They were so pretty. Our babysitter Doris brought them for me on a Sunday. On Monday they had opened to that part. And this is the kitchen of our apartment in Berlin, looking out the window. And this is the dining room. We had It was all furnished. He gave us a set of china, a set of silverware, pots, pans. It's all furnished with everything. And I was looking out the living room window of the apartment. And that's what you saw out of the window. Other housing complexes around us was all American housing. And there's Bill in the china cabinet. And there's your dad, Peter, Paul, and Bill. Old Mercury he picked up from another GI just to run around town in. And there we are in front of the apartment, me and Bill, the twins, and one of the little girls that lived in the apartment. We're in front of the apartment that we lived in Berlin. The boys and one of the little girls that lived in the apartment. And there were the twins, all dressed up. We must have been going somewhere. There's Peter, hot-footing it across the parking lot in his diaper. And there's Paul in the backyard by the sandbox. And there's your dad and boys, and he bought you this great big huge beach ball to play with. And there's the backyard looking from the window of our apartment down the sandbox. And there's your dad playing with the ball out in the back. And there I'm taking this from the window of the apartment. When they're playing in the sandbox. And there's our apartment, the one second story up with the bars on the window. And there it says Merry Christmas, and everybody had their name on the door. And there's a Christmas tree we had that year, and the angel I made for the top. There's part of the tree. And there's another picture of the tree. And the bottom of the tree with the little village. And the first candy house I ever made, candy cookie house.
Is there home?
Our Christmas cards hanging on the window. And this is Bill's birthday party, and we invited all the neighbors and the friends that we made over there. Another scene. And this is a border house on the border between American and the East. And up in those windows, you can't see them, but there were soldiers with guns to guard anybody crossing the border. And this sign says, "You are leaving the American sector, beware." And of course, they had posts in the road and barbed wire, so you couldn't really go there. And you can see the post, and down the road, there's all kinds of barbed wire. So you couldn't go on that road. This is the Russian War Memorial, and it was in West Berlin. And you see the Russian soldiers to the far left, and there used to be only one Russian soldier, and he defected, so then they put two, one to watch the other, and they defected, so then I think now they had four, two to watch the other two, so they wouldn't defect. There's another view of it. And there's another view. There's two of the soldiers there, and I think two were on the other side. There's the Brandenburg Gate, looking from west to east. That was the border. And this is looking from east to west. We took a bus tour into the east sector. This is all that remains of Hitler's bunker. They were digging up the final pieces of concrete that was supposed to be where he had died. And they were digging up all the remaining parts of it. And this is a street in the east sector. And as you can see, it's on a Sunday. There are no cars, no bicycles, no people walking. Very deserted. And this is the Garden of Remembrance. It's a Russian memorial. Russian soldiers are buried there. This is supposed to be Mother Russia mourning her dead. And this is the big stone slabs on the side. And all this was done by German prisoners, slave labor, 18 months to build this whole garden. They worked them night and day. And this is a Russian soldier with a child in his arm, sword in the other arm, stepping on the swastika. And this is the only time you see a Russian soldier kneeling, is in these statues. There was one on each side of the entrance. And there's a shot of the whole garden with the soldier at the end. And all those little, the leaves on the side, all the fancy work there is all little tiny 1-inch stone that was set by hand. And this, you are leaving the American sectors, Autobahn, leaving Berlin, and you have to go through the east sector to get to Frankfurt. And there's the Berlin Bear on the Autobahn as you're leaving. And checkpoint Bravo, which is the American checkpoint, and then you went through the Russian checkpoint. And this is a street in Frankfurt where our friends were stationed. We went down to see them one day. And that's the Hart Mountains, just outside of Frankfurt, Germany, start of the Bavarian Alps.